You've seen the schedule. So let's not waste each other's time here, because we don't have a lot of time doing the hard stuff that we need to do to get to where we want to go. This is about winning. It's about winning the world championship, period.
It's time for another edition of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, inside the Globe Life studio here at the Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. We hope you're having a great holiday weekend. Of course, it is a work weekend and then some for the Cowboys here after the loss to the Raiders on Thursday. Turn around another Thursday game on the road at the New Orleans Saints. But Coach, let's get started talking about the Thursday game. It was a frustrating game in many respects. What is it that what is your takeaway from what happened on Thursday?
Well, I mean, it's a challenging game. When you look at each and every season going into it, when you're trying to lay out your plan on the situation, how much time you're going to spend in each different season. My point is, you average probably 8 of these type of games a year. That's the norm. That's what the league tells you. We're probably going to be a little higher. This year I think that's part of being the Dallas Cowboys. Because you get everybody's best shot. So going into it, we felt very comfortable. As the game went on, we knew it was going to be a tough game, and particularly when it got into the later stages. So, I thought our players did a tremendous job just staying focused, fighting through the frustration, as you stated already. Extremely frustrating contest to participate in, the up and down, the herky-jerkiness of it. But I was just really proud of the football team, the way they continued to battle, and we were in position to win the football game.
So what is your message to the team as they deal with it? Because I could sense the frustration from the players in the locker room afterward.
Well, the most important thing is what you do with this experience. I mean, it's just like anything in life. You're a product of your own experiences, but more importantly, how you're able to grow and apply it to the next opportunity. So, this next one's going to be on us fast. We play Thursday night in New Orleans, and so there's always carryover week to week. Obviously we have some players that are coming back, so there'll be a nice, influx of veteran players coming back. But at the end of the day, every game, regardless of the result of the game, these are self-scout opportunities that we need to learn from. We got to take a hard look at the penalties and the fundamentals, the techniques, and why they're calling it, and so forth. We understand that this game's a game of leverage and hand placement and footwork and things like that. So if maybe our initial set or our initial placement or initial footwork is not as good as it could be, but then our redirection could be better. So those are the things that we'll really focus on and make sure that we can be the best that we can be. We can't control how the game's going to be officiated. I think the variance that you see week to week from the crew, it's held up. We have an officiating scouting report that we do on Saturday mornings and Saturday evening with our players. So they were very, we were anticipating a highly officiated game. We got it. Unfortunately, we probably didn't come out on the right end of it.
All right, a couple of those guys that you hope to have back for the Saints game, of course, Amari Cooper and C.D. Lamb. What your offense did in the fourth quarter, you went tempo in the fourth quarter, and the connections were beautiful between Dak and Michael Gallup down the sideline.
Yeah, definitely. I think like a lot of times in a game of football, there's so much that goes into game planning, scheme and matchups and so forth. And sometimes you just got to pick up your own pace and tempo. And I thought that was a real asset to us. And led by Dak's charge there, and the ability really to get us where we needed to be in position to win the game at the end.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of the Mike McCarthy Show. Up next, it's David Moore of the Dallas Morning News.
When you talking about 3 phases and you talking about special teams, offense, and defense, obviously crucial penalties is going to hurt, and it's not very disciplined football. So on our side, I don't care what they had. We got to fix things. And, as long as they're fixable things, I ain't see anything out there that was like unfixable or unusual. It's things that we could work on ourselves and we could get better at.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, is brought to you by AT&T, Ford, built for Texas, built for you. The University of North Texas, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by Reliant, an NRG company. This segment is brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage.
It's just one of them days, you know. Just got to watch the film, see what we can improve at with it, and get better. I mean, I feel like I was in position for all of them and just try to turn my head over. Some of them I did have my head turned, just got to get better and just try to get better.
I give credit to all of those guys, especially AB. I mean, he fought through it. I mean, through a lot of adversity. I mean, he's having a great year. So, I mean, that's my brother right there, man, and he fought through it all.
So I don't really understand why did I have to talk to him? He's a solid player. He's going to continue to be a solid player. So, that's just what it is. We have his back regardless of anything, and that's all we need is the people in the locker room. Everybody else, they're going to nitpick. They're going to make their own decisions and, live with that. But he knows he has our back, and, we're always behind him. So everything else is the noise on the outside doesn't even matter. We got his back regardless. So.
The Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, continues now inside the Globe Life studio as I am joined by David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, sportsdaydfw.com. And I got to say, David, at the end of that game, as I'm watching it on Thanksgiving, I'm sitting there going, that might be the least enjoyable game I've ever watched, and it was because of the penalties. Both sides of the ball. When you've got 28 penalties called for 276 yards in a game, that's not what the NFL is looking for, I don't think.
No, not at all. That's not what they want in their showcase game on Thanksgiving Day. It was a feast, but not the kind anyone wants. Dallas also flagged 14 times for a franchise record, 166 yards. Anthony Brown, the corner, 4 pass interference penalties for 91 yards. And from what we can tell, he's the first player this century to be flagged 4 times for pass interference in a game. Hasn't happened since 2000. You have to go back before that.
Well, let's look at other things involved in this one. Let's look at the defense, because they gave up a whole lot of yards in that game, and then you tack on the penalty yardage, and it was up over 600 yards.
Yeah, 509 yards in offense. Las Vegas won the time of possession by 13 minutes. This was a team that hadn't run the ball well. They ran it on Dallas. And defensively, it's, boy, how quickly things change, right? I mean, we're coming out of the Kansas City game talking about what a solid defensive performance. They made Patrick Mahomes look ordinary. And now you get to this Raiders game, a Raiders team that had scored 43 points total in the previous 3 games, got 36 in this one. Too many big plays, 8 plays of 20 or more yards. You tack that on to all of the penalties, and it was too much for Dallas to overcome.
All right, and then look at the offense. It seemed like early in the game there was an emphasis on running the ball on multiple plays, but we didn't see that as the game went on.
No, and you did have one big run in the first half where Pollard got 31 yards. Guess what? It was called back due to a penalty, a holding call on Tyler Biadasz. And Dallas only ran the ball 4 times in the second half. Now, I understand they were behind. They were chasing points. Because of the time of possession, they had to make every one of them count, especially in the fourth quarter. You can understand, but there's been an erosion in this run game over the last 4 weeks. Part of it is Ezekiel Elliott doesn't look right with the bone bruise. You've had changes in the offensive line, so you've lacked continuity there. And now Dallas has gone 9 consecutive quarters without a lead. So they're playing from behind constantly. All that together pushes the running game down the list of priorities, but they've got to get that back to get this offense in balance.
And in a hurry, as it is, of course, a Thursday game against the Saints coming up, the first of 6 to close it out. David Moore, we appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. And the Mike McCarthy Show continues in a moment. Isaiah Standback is in the film room to break down the New Orleans Saints.
It's a tough one. It's a tough loss. We hung in there all day, did a good job fighting, staying with it, came back towards the end. But, we just got to do a better job executing at the beginning of the game, not coming out so sluggish and having to make up for that in the second half. So we just have to do a good job playing the whole game.
This segment was brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage. This segment is brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys.
We definitely have the right guys to bounce back. in reality, I mean, we're 7-4. We're leading our division. Everything is still in front of us. We just got to take the experience from today, learn from it, move on. And last time I checked, we still got a game next week that we got to win.
Hey y'all, Isaiah Stanback here, ready to break things down for you here in the film room as we get ready to take on the New Orleans Saints. Now, one thing that the New Orleans Saints do a great job of is stopping the run. And teams that do a great job of stopping the run, like these guys, number 6 in the league in rush defense, they tend to get a little overconfident, okay? They tend to like to load the box. And when they decide to do that, we have to make them pay. Here's a prime example right here of these guys loading the box. You guys see things lined up, man to man, man to man, man to man, man to man. As soon as they do that, take a look at the inside of the box here. We have 7 guys. Whenever there's a 7-guy box, that means do not run the ball because they are trying to do what? Continue to remain number 6 in the league in terms of stopping the rush. So we have an opportunity to run man beaters all day long. You'll see the Philadelphia Eagles do a great job of clearing things out right here. And coming off of the outside, they're going to run a nice little slant route, creating a rub concept, which frees things up here on the backside. They're going to have all this vacated space to run to. And we have the opportunity to do that against these guys, just like the Philadelphia Eagles do here. So we're going to run a play here. Hurts snaps the ball. You guys see it. Perfect. Pause it right here. He turns the back of that the defensive back. He turns the back of that defensive back. Now, the man that has man coverage on him has to do what? Come over the top. These guys are locked in right here on the quarterback. Their eyes are here. Their eyes are not over here. So they have an opportunity now to come underneath, take advantage of this right here as they run to the open zone. Bam, he runs not through the first hole to the second hole, all the way across the formation. Easy reception. Again, beating his man, getting a little yak yardage. This is what we have the opportunity to do because these guys are so confident within their ability to play rush defense. Now, when we're on the opposite side of the things, we have to be able to take advantage of their ability to run the ball because they want to initiate the ground game. Their quarterback is Mcewen. He's not that great at throwing the ball. So they run the ball 46% of the times, one of the more evenly killed teams that we're going to face this year. And when they decide to run the ball, we have to be deliberate in terms of our ability to stop things. We need to not have 2 guys back here. We need to make sure that we have 1 single high safety, giving us the ability to have an 8-man box. So we want 8 guys down here in the box, discouraging them from running the ball. I feel fully confident that we can play man-to-man coverage down here, take their receivers out of it. But when we do that, we have to stop who? Either Kamara or we have to stop Ingram. Just like the Philadelphia Eagles do here. You guys will see a perfect example of big old, who we got here in the middle? Big Peters right here in the middle does a great job of poking the ball out. He sees peekaboo. He pokes this thing out, gives his team an opportunity to recover a fumble. We'll take a look at it from another angle here. Now, they're not going to run the ball that effectively if we can do that because, again, you see peekaboo right here. As soon as that ball presents itself, where's his eyes? Big man has his eyes on the prize. Pokes that thing out. Again, turnover. This is what we have to do on that side of the ball. We have to get back to creating more turnovers to give our offense more opportunities to score points. We have been off the rails. We have to get back on the rails, and this is how we do it right here. That has been the film room session here. Coming after the break, Coach McCarthy rejoins Bill Jones. We'll see you guys in a minute.
I mean, we've got to get back to believing in the basics and just playing fundamental football and being smarter. Being smart, as I said, being able to keep the officials out of the game, playing complementary football, scoring touchdowns when the defense gets turnovers, and we'll be okay. In the sense is, I'm sure a bunch of people are jumping off the bandwagon, which is fine with us because we know what we're capable of. We know the team that we have. More importantly, we know the men that are in that locker room, and that's the most important thing. Is just our belief in each other, and that's not going anywhere. It's not faded. We lost a tough one in an overtime game today, and that's the bottom line.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. As the coach rejoins us here in the Globe Life studio, we're looking back at Thursday. We're looking ahead to the Saints as well. New Orleans will come into this game with a 5-6 record. They lost to Buffalo on Thursday night. What can you expect, though, out of a Sean Payton coach team?
Sean does a tremendous job. Has for quite some time. Down there since 2006. So, one thing about playing his teams, particularly at home, it's going to be a Thursday night game, so it'll be tremendous energy in the Superdome. But, yeah, they're going to come after us. I think some of the challenges that we've seen in past weeks will probably present itself on Thursday. But, this is going to be a juggernaut. It's a prime time game, and we expect that type of contest.
You know, they've had some injury issues of their own there in New Orleans. Trevor Siemian's been starting at quarterback. For your defense, though, where do you see where your defense is right now? Had a really nice game against Kansas City, and we talk about some of the frustrations that they had on Thursday, but where do you see things are right now with the defense?
Well, I think like anything, it starts up front. You know, we got to really stay after the run defense, because to me that's always the building block there, and so we'll go back and emphasize that as we go into the game. But the big plays through penalties will be the correction part of it coming out of this past game. But hey, they're gonna challenge us, but it starts up front, and just gonna keep our guys playing aggressive. I have great belief in all of our players, especially on defense.
You talk about reinforcements coming back, and DeMarcus Lawrence returned to the practice field this past week. It will be very nice to have him back for the first time since he left in the Tampa Bay game with a broken foot.
I agree. It'll be great to get D-Law back out there. So, I mean, he's obviously a big part of what we do on defense, and so he looks good. Hopefully if he can go through a clean week, it'd be great to have him Thursday night.
All right, and then the natural question off of that is Micah Parsons. Okay, Parsons gets another sack in the game on Thursday. That's now 9 on the season, but he's also so good at the linebacker position. And 77 snaps in that game, 77 out of 87 on the defensive side. That's really being relentless on that defensive line. How does it impact things as how you utilize Parsons?
Well, I mean, the young man's special. It's obvious, stating the obvious, and we've recognized that early. But I think the most important thing is the ability to move Micah around, and I think that particularly, as an offensive coach in the league for decades, when you can create targeting problems with a premier weapon as he is, I think that's a bigger challenge for the offense. So we'll let the game plan dictate where he plays.
All right, switching back to your offense for a moment here. Tony Pollard, of course, you just see that burst from him, not only on offense, you really saw it on the 100-yard kickoff return as well. Zeke obviously is going through some injury issues himself right now. Where do you see things in the run game?
Well, I mean, we need, starts up front there too. I mean, we got to get back and, our run blocking unit, the efficiency of it, giving cleaner looks for the ball carries, and then, obviously the ability to get the ball to the second level, and then because that's where the big plays come from. So, Tony's just, really has been so consistent in both my years here. So continue to grow and give him opportunities. Zeke's fighting through, an injury situation. So we'll monitor him this week and see how it goes for Thursday.
All right, we wrap up things on the Mike McCarthy Show in just a moment.
How did it feel to get your first touchdown of your NFL career?
I mean, yeah, it was really awesome. Dream come true for me. I wish I got it with a win, but still definitely an awesome experience for me.
Final minute or so of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, and an unsung star from the game on Thursday. How about Sean McCewen, the tight end? You've liked him ever since he was signed as a college free agent out of Michigan. Of course, he was a regular on special teams last year, injured to start this year. First career touchdown on Thursday against the Raiders.
I'm very happy for Sean, especially coming off the injury that he suffered back in the Arizona preseason game. Just seeing the fight back out there. Had a tremendous offseason. Did a really nice job for us last year as a rookie. But, I think this young man has a lot of excellent football in front of him. So does all the little things. It was great to have him back here on special teams too, because he's definitely has the ability to be a four-core player for us there. So Sean's very, very dynamic in his ability to play both in the run and the pass. So it's always great to see your young players get an opportunity, and definitely see him, it's great to see him cash in on a touchdown.
Finally, speaking of special teams, Brian Anger had 7 punts for a 55-yard average. The Saints have a pretty dynamic return guy in Deontay Harris.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I think that's part of, playing in the dome, and the ability to, ball placement will be critical, and that's something that we'll have to, go through the game plan process. But Brian has been awesome for us this year, so it's been great having him.
All right, enjoy the rest of your working weekend. And we thank you for joining us here for the Mike McCarthy Show. And we will see you next week after the Cowboys take on the New Orleans Saints.
Too high during the win streak, losing 3 of the last 4. What's the key to not being frustrated by that?
We just got to focus. We got to go get better. We got to go fix, what happened today and, become a better team by next week.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, was brought to you by Ford, built for Texas, built for you. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. Geico, switch today and see all the ways you could save. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.